Not all lawyers are the same. I've been teaching future lawyers for over 30 years, and some students are obviously going to be seem to be a lot more committed to their future clients. Others seem to slide. Some lawyers, and I know this, will overcharge and not do a great job for you. So finding a lawyer that you want to work with is very important. The first thing is, do you need a lawyer? You might want to think, well, I can get a book with a form in it and do my own will, go to a website, fill out these forms, get my own power of attorney, that sort of thing. Some problems with that are, it's much better, I think, to deal with a lawyer. First of all, the lawyer will know any new changes in the law. Second of all, a document drafted by a lawyer with the lawyer's name on it is going to have a lot more effect than something that you may get out of your computer, simply because the person that's seeing the document, say it's a power of attorney. People don't have to honor a power of attorney, but if it has the name of a lawyer, they'll know this is a legitimate document. Also, say that you decide to have in your will to leave your estate to your son and your daughter. Well, that's simple, and you get a form to do that. What happens, however, if your son dies before you do, and your son leaves 2 children? Do those 2 children get nothing and the daughter gets everything? Or do the 2 children split their father's share? Or do they all become 3 and they've got the 2 children from the son and the daughter, so everybody gets a third? Now, a lawyer will alert you to problems like that. Lawyers are trained to see problems down the road that forms usually aren't. Beyond that, a lawyer will know things about the community to help you. For example, you have a lawyer, you work with the will, but then later on, your aunt needs to have a nursing home. You could phone the lawyer and say, hey, listen, I'm a client of yours and I have this problem. Do you have any advice? And you can get that, and these people know how to handle those kinds of situations. So I'd advise to get a lawyer. What kind of a lawyer do you want? At the university where I teach, there's also a nursing school. And the nurses have a saying. Always remember that we're treating a patient, not a disease. You want a lawyer who would be a good nurse. You want a lawyer who will be taking care of you and not looking at you as a legal problem, but as a regular human being. You want to have the sense that they are committed to you and that they understand your problem. When you're selecting an attorney, shop around somewhat. Interview at least 2. It's only the second interview will show you what you liked about the first lawyer and maybe what you didn't like about the first lawyer. We all see and understand things by contrast. So it's a great idea to interview 2. And ask yourself when you're done, is this person treating me as a patient or as a disease? Is this person treating me as a person or as a legal problem? And one place you might want to begin your search is that there's a new organization for elder law lawyers, that people that are specializing in the field have joined this organization, and they have conventions and publications and are up in the various aspects of the field. And that is called the National Academy of Elder Law Attorneys. And the zip code, the website is www.naela.org. Go there, type in your zip code, and the list of elder law lawyers in your area will pop up. When you select, or when you're going to go see a lawyer, most of them will give you a free interview to begin with, thus to talk. When you go there for your first real session, however, you should spend some time preparing for that. What questions do you have for the lawyer? You can get some information from other segments of this series. If, for example, you're thinking of getting a healthcare power of attorney, and of course everyone should have that, you might want to look at the segment where I discuss that. It raises some of the issues that you will be wanting to talk to your attorney about. The more you know, the quicker it's going to go with the attorney, and the better service you'll probably get. Also, obviously, you want to take any of the documents that you think might be relevant. If you're going to get a new will, and you should probably get a new will every 5 years because your life situation changes, take a copy of the old will with you. What about taking someone with you to see the lawyer? Now, in another segment, I talk about going to the doctor's office, and there it's really critical to take someone with you, partly because you'll hear a lot of jargon and you're going to be upset when the doctor maybe tells you what the prognosis is, and also maybe to be an advocate for you in terms of pain medication and that sort of thing. It's a little trickier, however, dealing with lawyers. First of all, there's the attorney-client privilege. Basically says that whatever you tell your lawyer is privilege, which means that your lawyer can't tell anybody about it and cannot be compelled to tell anybody about that. The judge can't say, what did your client tell you? They are prohibited from doing that, so it's a very safe zone. You can even say, confess to murder, and your lawyer can't tell anybody else about that. However, you can't say, I'm going to kill somebody, because that's not covered by the privilege. Hopefully, you're neither one of those situations. However, the problem is, if somebody other than the client and the attorney are in the room, that breaks the privilege. So you might want to, if something's really very sensitive, you want to make sure that you just don't have another relative in the room, because then that conversation is no longer privileged. And obviously, there are some things that you will probably want to have privilege. Your feelings about maybe certainly your relatives and things of that nature. Second of all, there may be a conflict between people, between you and the person you bring. For example, if you're going to get a prenuptial, if you're getting married for a second or third time and having a prenuptial, you and your loved one will have different interests in the prenuptial and should be represented by different lawyers. And that's probably what's going to happen, that one lawyer is not going to represent both of you for a prenuptial. However, even in other cases, let's say a husband and a wife go to a lawyer to have a joint will, there may be a conflict between their interests in that joint will. And your lawyer will explain that to you, and in many cases will simply have you sign a document saying, yeah, we realize that there's a potential for a conflict here, but we're happy to have one lawyer handle this. The third thing is, and this is the problem when a third person brings an elderly person to the law office. The issue there is, particularly, they bring mom in, and mom to write a will giving everything to the person who brought mom to the lawyer. Obviously, there's a problem of undue influence, and the lawyer will most likely ask the person who brought the elderly into the room to leave for a while to make sure it's really the elder's desire and not the child's forcing that. They may ask you some ridiculous questions if you're getting on, questions about planning a trip to Uruguay or whatever. And basically what they're doing is trying to see if you're legally competent. So go along with them, and don't feel bad if you have no ideas about how you'd plan a trip to Uruguay, because I don't either. Finally, you want to walk away with a written retainer agreement that discusses fees and how billing and things like that. Be sure to understand what the lawyer is going to do for you and what they're not going to do for you. You may have talked about several different legal areas, and only one is going to be the subject of representation. Saving money. One way to save money is not to phone the lawyer at all the times and ask the progress of your case. That just takes a lot of law time, and you'll be billed for it, and you shouldn't do that. Encourage the lawyer. A lot of lawyers now have paralegals that are trained, and they know a lot about routine things, and they are very good in terms of they will charge you less than will the lawyer. How about, one of the things about people are kind of shocked when they hear lawyers may be charging them $200 an hour or whatever. What you have to realize, however, is that the lawyer is using that money not only to support his own family, but to pay for the secretaries, to pay for all the help, to pay the rent and all that sort of thing. It's been estimated that 70 or 80% of the fees collected by lawyers go into overhead. So that's the reason the fees seem to be very high. If you do have a dispute about a fee from your lawyer, most bar associations have arbitration panels that handle fee disputes. So you could contact them and say, I think I've been paid too much. Of course, you always have the right to change a lawyer. So if you're dissatisfied, anytime you can say, I just want to go to a different lawyer, give me my papers. Let me end with a quote from British author C.K. Chesterton. And he wrote once, the horrible thing about all legal officials, even the best, about judges, magistrates, barristers, detectives, policemen, is not that they are wicked, some of them are good. It is not that they are stupid, several of them are quite intelligent. It is simply that they have got used to it. Get a lawyer who hasn't got used to it. Get a lawyer who will be treating you as a nurse, that will be treating you not as a disease, but as a patient. Good luck.